The day began like any other across the globe's cities, hummed with the usual rhythm of life. People rushed to work, children played in parks, and the sun shone brightly over a peaceful planet. But the calm was short-lived as an ominous presence loomed above Earth. Unnoticed at first, a strange ripple disturbed the atmosphere like a quiet whisper in the wind. It was subtle but powerful enough to send a shiver through the world's air traffic control systems. Their screens flickered for a brief moment before returning to normal, but something was different, something none of them could explain. Within hours, the first sightings began. Ships of impossible size appearing above major cities, their metallic surfaces glinting like a shadow cast by the very stars themselves. At first, most thought they were weather balloons or some new experimental aircraft. But as the hours passed and more ships arrived, panic began to spread across the globe. The sky was filled with shapes unlike anything ever seen by human eyes. These were not ships, they were something else entirely. Their design defied logic, and their presence sent shockwaves of terror through Earth's military forces. The first attack came without warning. The air trembled as beams of light erupted from the alien ships, hitting key military installations around the world with devastating precision. Entire bases were wiped off the map in seconds. Explosions rocked the Earth as cities fell into chaos. Communications were severed as the invaders took control of the electromagnetic spectrum, leaving the planet in complete darkness. The world's greatest powers were paralyzed, unable to even coordinate a proper defense. Leaders of nations gathered in underground bunkers, but their plans were useless before the sheer might of the invaders, who effortlessly disrupted any attempts at retaliation. The military's most advanced weapons, launched at the alien forces, did nothing more than bounce harmlessly off their shields, as if the invaders were playing with them. The alien ships hovered overhead, their power unimaginable, their superiority undeniable. On the streets below, civilians ran in panic as the air buzzed with the sound of alien warships hovering overhead, their massive shadows swallowing entire neighborhoods. In an instant, buildings crumbled as if made of paper, while people scrambled to find shelter. The first signs of true fear began to take hold among humanity. For the first time in history, the human race faced an enemy it could not understand nor fight. Through the devastation, one voice rose above the confusion. Evelyn Carter, a scientist with a deep interest in quantum mechanics, had been monitoring strange readings coming from deep within the Earth's core. When the first attacks began, she realized the anomaly she had been studying for years was no coincidence. The alien fleet was no ordinary invader. They were drawn to Earth, not by its resources, but by something far more elusive, something hidden beneath its surface. She understood that the future of humanity might lie in this discovery, but the question remained, would they have enough time to unlock its secrets before it was too late? As the world burned beneath the alien assault, Carter sent out a cryptic message to the global network, her mind racing with possibilities. She knew that Earth's survival might not lie in weapons or defense, but in something far deeper, a hidden force that had remained dormant for millennia, just waiting to be awakened. The world trembled from the aftermath of the alien strike. With the sky still darkened by the hulking ships overhead, humanity was left stunned and helpless. Cities lay in ruins, governments crumbled as panic spread across every nation. The military was shattered, their command centers taken out in mere moments, leaving them unable to mount any meaningful resistance. The global response was fractured at best. In the wake of the devastation, however, something extraordinary was happening beneath the surface of the planet. The Earth itself seemed to be reacting in ways no one could comprehend. It began with the smallest of shifts. People all around the world started noticing strange occurrences. It began in isolated incidents. A construction worker in Mexico City suddenly lifted a massive steel beam to rescue a trapped coworker without breaking a sweat. A woman in London was able to predict a car accident before it happened, warning others just in time. A young boy in Sydney suddenly ran faster than any human should have been able to, sprinting across a football field with the grace of an Olympic sprinter. These were the first signs, but they were enough to leave those who experienced them shaken. As the days passed, more people started noticing changes within themselves. Some developed heightened senses, their hearing sharp enough to pick up whispers across crowded rooms. Others found their minds suddenly able to grasp complex concepts with ease. Scientists across the globe were baffled by the sudden outbursts of extraordinary abilities. They began running tests, but no answers came. The most they could determine was that a strange quantum fluctuation seemed to be occurring on a global scale, and it was getting stronger with every passing hour. Among those who were most affected was Evelyn Carter, who found herself experiencing something no one else could understand. Her mind felt sharper than ever before. Her thoughts raced faster than she could keep up with. She could see patterns in data and phenomena that had once been invisible to her. She realized with growing alarm that the quantum anomaly she had discovered beneath the Earth's surface was no mere fluke. It was a force far beyond anything humanity had ever experienced, and it was awakening now. Meanwhile, the world's remaining military forces began to take notice of these strange events. Soldiers across the globe, who had previously struggled to match the alien superior technology, found themselves suddenly gifted with remarkable new abilities. Some were able to tap into their latent physical strength, others could move with unnatural speed and precision, some could even manipulate objects with their minds. The military initially believed it to be a side effect of some unknown weapon from the aliens, but as they observed the phenomenon grow stronger, they realized the truth: humanity itself was changing. The first group of resistance fighters emerged from the ashes of the military, the ordinary men and women who had suddenly been gifted with extraordinary powers, banded together to defend their homes. They didn't know how or why they had been chosen, but they were united by a common purpose. They fought not only for survival, but to reclaim their world from the invaders who had thought they could easily crush them. Carter watched as humanity began to awaken to its hidden potential. She knew that the aliens would not sit idly by and let the humans grow stronger. They would retaliate with everything they had, and humanity would have to rise to meet them. But she also knew one thing for certain: they had a chance to win now, because the alien invaders had made one fatal mistake. They underestimated the power of the human spirit. As the days passed and the alien forces continued their assault, humanity began to realize that they were no longer completely helpless. The first signs of resistance appeared in the most unexpected of places. A small group of civilians in Paris made their stand against an alien patrol after witnessing one of their own suddenly gain the ability to manipulate metal with his mind. They fought back against the invaders, driving them away from the city. For a brief moment, it was as if the balance of power had shifted. News of the resistance spread like wildfire across the globe, and what had begun as isolated skirmishes turned into a global movement. The newly awakened humans began to form groups all over the world, people with extraordinary abilities banding together in secret to resist the alien occupation. They trained themselves in the use of their powers and shared knowledge on how to fight back against the invaders. They were not soldiers, but they were becoming something more, something the aliens had not accounted for. Evelyn Carter found herself at the forefront of this burgeoning movement. Though she had never considered herself a fighter, her mind was sharp, and her understanding of the quantum anomaly made her the perfect strategist for the resistance. She worked tirelessly to coordinate efforts between the various factions of resistance groups, sharing her knowledge of the alien forces and how best to use their abilities against them. While others fought on the front lines, Carter worked behind the scenes, studying the alien technology that had so effortlessly crushed Earth's military and looking for weaknesses. The first real victory for humanity came in the form of a daring raid on an alien supply depot hidden in the heart of Africa. The resistance had been working in secret for weeks, learning the movements of alien patrols and gathering intelligence through covert operations. Once they had everything in place, they struck in the dead of night, using their newfound powers to infiltrate the facility with precision and stealth. The resistance fighters moved like shadows, manipulating the environment around them and taking out alien guards with barely a sound. The mission was a success beyond their expectations. The supply depot was destroyed in a controlled explosion, and alien supplies were stolen for use in future operations. The victory sent shockwaves through both the resistance and the invaders. The aliens had never considered that Earth's citizens would be able to organize, let alone fight back on such a scale. Their reaction was swift and brutal. They retaliated with an overwhelming force, sending a full battalion of warships to the planet's surface in a show of strength. But the resistance was ready. With every new success, the humans grew bolder, their powers began to evolve. They learned to work together as a unit, using their abilities to support and enhance each other's strengths. Their tactics became more sophisticated, and they adapted to the alien technology they had captured, using it against its creators. Human engineers reverse-engineered the alien tech and created weapons capable of taking down the invaders' ships. A glimmer of hope began to grow in the hearts of Earth's defenders. For the first time since the invasion, they believed they could win. Yet the aliens were not the only threat humanity faced. As the resistance gained strength, they began to notice a new phenomenon. The quantum anomaly beneath Earth's surface was reacting to the growing conflict. It pulsed with an intensity that was both terrifying and fascinating. Carter realized that whatever was hidden deep inside the planet was not just a source of power for humanity, but something far more ancient, something that could change the course of the entire war and beyond. The alien forces had underestimated humanity's resolve, and now they were beginning to regret their mistake. As the resistance grew stronger, so too did the abilities of those who had been touched by the quantum anomaly. Humanity was no longer just reacting to the alien threat, they were fighting back with a fury that caught the invaders off guard. It started with small victories, a series of guerrilla strikes on alien supply lines in Asia and Africa. But as the resistance grew more confident, their attacks became bolder and more coordinated. The first large-scale offensive came in South America, where a joint effort by several resistance groups managed to overwhelm a key alien base hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest. The operation was swift and deadly. Resistance fighters used their quantum abilities to move undetected through the dense jungle, their powers allowing them to bend light and shift the terrain to conceal their movements. Alien forces were caught by surprise, and before they could retaliate, the base was obliterated by a series of well-placed explosive charges. The success sent a shockwave through the alien command structure. They had never seen such coordinated resistance before, and it terrified them. Meanwhile, in Europe, the aliens began to escalate their tactics, deploying massive orbital bombardments on major cities in an attempt to crush the human resistance once and for all. Entire regions were devastated as orbital lasers rained down from the alien warships above. Entire cities turned to ash within minutes. But the survivors of these attacks did not cower. Instead, they rose from the rubble to continue the fight. It was clear now that humanity had reached a turning point. The will to survive was no longer enough. They were fighting for something greater than themselves. They were fighting for their future. Evelyn Carter watched in awe as the resistance's powers grew stronger with each passing day. She had once believed that the quantum anomaly was a gift that would help humanity survive, but she was starting to realize that it was something more. It was a force of nature, something ancient and primordial buried deep within the Earth's core. She had uncovered more of its secrets over the past few weeks, and now she understood its true purpose. It was not just a tool for humanity to fight back against the invaders. It was a weapon designed to protect the planet itself. The more Carter studied the quantum anomaly, the more she realized that it was responding to the alien threat in ways that defied explanation. The anomaly was shifting its energy levels, increasing its intensity with each alien attack, as if it were reacting to the conflict with a growing sense of urgency. She believed that the anomaly itself was the key to ending the war, but what she didn't know was whether humanity could unlock its full potential before the aliens destroyed everything they held dear. The quantum storm that had once been a mysterious force beneath the Earth's surface was beginning to take shape. It was no longer just a passive energy source. It was a living, breathing entity that was growing stronger every day as the alien forces pushed forward with their devastating attacks. Humanity's resistance to them grew ever more fierce. Each victory seemed to feed the quantum anomaly itself, and the anomaly responded with an increased outpouring of energy, granting the resistance fighters new abilities. With each encounter, new powers emerged from within them: faster reflexes, sharper senses, and even the ability to manipulate the very fabric of space and time itself. As the storm raged, the resistance began to realize something even more troubling. The aliens had no intention of stopping their assault. They had failed to wipe out humanity, and now they were preparing for a final offensive, one that would bring the full weight of their technology to bear on the planet. But the Resistance knew something the aliens did not. Humanity was no longer fighting on the back foot. They were about to turn the tide. The war had reached a fever pitch. The alien forces no longer underestimated humanity, but the Resistance had grown stronger than ever. The discovery of their newfound powers had pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Humans were no longer fighting with just their will to survive. They were fighting with something far greater, a force that flowed from the earth itself, something that had been buried beneath the surface for eons, and was now awakening to protect its home. As the alien warships continued their bombardment across the globe, the Resistance fighters moved with an eerie synchronicity. They had learned to communicate without speaking. Their powers were now connected in a way that allowed them to act as one. Their movements were fluid, their tactics precise, and their victories were stacking up. The aliens who had once thought they could crush the human spirit now faced a growing army of determined soldiers who seemed unstoppable. In the chaos of the battlefields, Evelyn Carter had become one of the most sought-after figures in the Resistance. Her knowledge of the quantum anomaly and her growing ability to tap into its power had made her an invaluable asset. But even she was beginning to feel the weight of the situation. The anomaly was far more complex than she had imagined, and she feared that the energy it was releasing might be more than humanity could control. The closer she got to understanding it, the more she realized that there were layers of this force that she didn't fully comprehend. The Resistance had managed to discover a strange underground facility buried deep beneath the surface in the heart of the Amazon. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. It seemed to be both alien and ancient, its technology far more advanced than anything the invaders had used. The energy readings from this place were off the charts, and Carter knew that this was the source of the quantum anomaly. It was the heart of the storm itself. As they made their way deeper into the facility, the Resistance fighters encountered something unexpected. They weren't alone. The underground complex was filled with strange alien beings who had been there for centuries. Hidden from the world above, their existence was a mystery and their motives unclear, but they had been waiting. They had known that one day the planet would face an existential threat, and they had prepared for it. These beings were not invaders, they were guardians. Their purpose was to protect the Earth from any force that sought to destroy it, and they had been waiting for humanity to awaken to their own potential. The Guardians were an ancient race who had evolved in tandem with the Earth's quantum anomaly. Their powers were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. They could manipulate the anomaly itself, using it as both a shield and a weapon. Carter realized with growing awe that humanity was not alone in this fight. The Guardians had always been there, watching over the Earth. In secret, they had just been waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And now that the alien forces were on the brink of annihilating humanity, the moment had arrived. But there was a catch. The Guardians could not intervene directly in the war. They could only guide humanity and offer their knowledge to those who had awakened to the quantum power within them. The future of the Earth rested on the shoulders of the Resistance and their ability to harness the energy of the anomaly to its fullest potential. The tension between the Resistance and the aliens reached a boiling point as both sides prepared for an all-out clash. The final battle was coming, and humanity now had a powerful ally in the Guardians. But the question remained, could they unlock the full potential of the quantum anomaly before the alien forces wiped them from existence? The air was thick with anticipation as the Resistance prepared for the ultimate battle against the alien forces. They had learned much since the invasion began. Their powers had grown sharper and their tactics more refined, but now they faced the greatest challenge of all. The alien fleet had consolidated its strength in orbit above Earth, readying for a final strike, meant to annihilate humanity once and for all. But with the Guardians now at their side, the Resistance felt a sense of unity and purpose that had not been present before. The Guardians shared with them knowledge of the anomaly, how it had been created, and why it had remained dormant beneath the Earth for so long. It was a living force, a sentient energy that could be manipulated by those who understood its true nature, and the Guardians believed humanity had reached that point. They had awakened to the anomaly's power, and now it was time to wield it to protect the planet and everything they held dear. Carter stood at the forefront of the resistance, her mind racing with the knowledge she had gained over the past several weeks. She had learned to tap into the anomaly herself, using its power to enhance her abilities, and it had changed her in ways she could not fully describe. She could feel its presence inside her now, a constant hum in the background of her thoughts. She knew that humanity's survival depended on their ability to unlock the full potential of the anomaly. But the stakes had never been higher. The alien forces were preparing to attack with everything they had, and time was running out. The Resistance's plan was simple yet bold. They would strike at the heart of the alien fleet, using the power of the anomaly to break through the defenses of the invaders' ships and allow humanity's forces to land on the surface to engage in direct combat with the remaining alien troops. They would need to move quickly and decisively, but with the Guardians by their side, they felt a sense of confidence they had not known before. As the battle began, the Resistance launched a series of coordinated attacks across the globe, using their powers to take out key alien installations and disrupt their supply chains. The alien warships responded with a devastating barrage of weapons from above, but the Resistance fighters were ready. They had learned to harness the power of the anomaly to shield themselves from the worst of the attacks, their powers flowing through them as one seamless force. But even as the Resistance made gains on the ground, the alien fleet above continued to move closer, their weapons locked onto Earth, and their intent clear. They would destroy the planet if they could not have it for themselves. Carter knew that the time had come to confront the alien fleet directly, and she had a plan that would require all of humanity's powers to work in unison to succeed. Gathering the most powerful of the Resistance fighters together, she led them into a deep subterranean chamber beneath the Earth's surface. It was the site where the Guardians had long hidden, and where the energy of the quantum anomaly was most concentrated. This chamber would be the key to breaking the alien fleet and opening the door to humanity's victory. As they stood together at the heart of the storm, Carter felt the power of the anomaly surge through her. She could feel it coursing through every cell of her body, a force unlike anything she had ever known. And as the Resistance fighters joined hands and channeled their energy into the core of the anomaly, the chamber began to glow with an intensity that lit the entire cavern. The Resistance knew that this was their last chance to turn the tide, and they poured everything they had into the anomaly. Every ounce of power and every bit of will they had left was focused on the singular goal of defeating the alien invaders. The energy in the underground chamber surged with a power that humanity had never experienced before. The air crackled with raw quantum energy as Carter and the Resistance fighters poured their will into the anomaly. Their bodies glowed with the intensity of the power they were channeling. The walls of the chamber vibrated, and the very earth beneath them seemed to hum with the force they had awakened. The quantum storm that had been dormant for millennia was now fully alive, and it was responding to humanity's call. Above them, the alien fleet loomed ready to unleash its final attack on the planet. But they had no idea what they were about to face. As the anomaly pulsed with greater and greater force, the Resistance felt a shift in the air. The ground trembled, and they knew that the time had come. The anomaly was no longer just a tool. It had become a weapon, one that could rival the alien forces in ways they could never have anticipated. Carter focused all her energy into the core of the anomaly, feeling the connection between her mind and the power surging through her. She could see the ripples of energy spreading out from the chamber across the planet's surface. The anomaly was awakening not just in them, but in every human who had been touched by its power. From every corner of the globe, the Resistance fighters felt the connection. They felt their powers grow stronger. The very fabric of space seemed to bend to their will. The alien fleet in orbit above Earth began to react as the anomaly's energy spread. The ships started to shake as if they were being pulled by some unseen force. Their shields flickered, and their weapon systems sputtered out of control. The aliens had never encountered anything like this before. They had assumed that their technology was unrivaled, that no force in the universe could challenge them. But now they were learning that they had made a grave mistake. The first wave of Resistance fighters, led by Carter and a select group of the most powerful humans, began their ascent toward the alien fleet. Their minds focused on one singular objective: to disrupt the alien ships and disable their defenses using the full force of the anomaly. They bent the fabric of reality around them as they traveled through the air, their powers pushing them forward like living weapons. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as the Resistance approached their ships. They had never seen anything like it, humans flying through the air, bending reality, and wielding energy as though it were an extension of themselves. They had thought the humans weak and easily defeated, but now they realized the truth. Humanity had unlocked something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. As the Resistance neared the alien fleet, the first strike came. A massive wave of energy erupted from the core of the anomaly, ripping through the sky like a storm. The alien warships shook violently as their shields collapsed under the force of the attack. In an instant, entire sections of the fleet were disabled as the energy tore through their hulls, leaving them vulnerable to the final assault. The Resistance fighters swooped in like a swarm, their powers amplifying each other as they struck with deadly precision. They tore through the alien defenses with ease, using the energy of the anomaly to dismantle the invaders' technology. Ship after ship fell from the sky as the humans unleashed the full force of their combined abilities. The aliens had no chance. Their once mighty fleet was being torn apart by the very power they had underestimated. But the alien command was not defeated yet. Their final contingency plan was already in motion. Deep within their flagship, a weapon of unimaginable power was being prepared. It was their last hope, their final attempt to take back control of the battle and destroy humanity once and for all. But the Resistance knew this too. They had prepared for it. They would have to face the weapon head-on and destroy it before it could unleash its full power. The storm was far from over, but humanity was no longer on the defensive. They had become the storm. The final battle was upon them. The alien fleet was in disarray, their warships falling from the sky like burning meteors as the Resistance fighters tore through their defenses with the power of the quantum anomaly. The earth beneath them seemed to pulse with life as humanity unleashed the full force of their newfound abilities. But even as the Resistance pressed forward, they knew the aliens still had one weapon left, one that could change everything. Deep within the alien flagship, hidden away in its core, was a device of unimaginable destruction, the last hope of the invaders, a weapon that could obliterate the planet in a single blast. It had been their ultimate contingency plan in case their invasion failed, and now as their fleet crumbled around them, it was their final chance to make humanity pay for daring to fight back. Carter knew they had to destroy the weapon before it could fire. She led the charge toward the alien flagship, her mind sharp and focused as the anomaly's power coursed through her and the Resistance fighters around her. They moved like one unified force, their abilities pushing them faster and farther than they had ever imagined. They were no longer just humans. They were a living storm, an unstoppable force that the aliens had no hope of matching. As they breached the alien flagship's outer defenses, they encountered resistance in the form of alien soldiers more advanced than any they had fought before. But they were no match for the power of the Resistance. Each fighter used their abilities to overwhelm the invaders, bending light and matter around them, moving through the ship like shadows, disabling the alien defenses with ease. Finally, they reached the heart of the flagship, the chamber housing the doomsday weapon. As the door slid open, Carter and her team were met with a sight that took their breath away. The weapon was a massive crystalline structure, pulsating with energy, its power source drawing from the deepest parts of space. The sheer magnitude of its destructive potential was staggering. One blast from this weapon, and the Earth would be reduced to nothing more than cosmic debris. They knew what had to be done. There was no time to waste with the alien forces on their tail, and the weapon about to fire. They had to act fast. But as they moved closer to disable the device, they encountered a final obstacle. The alien commander stood between them and their objective. His presence radiated with an aura of pure power. The Resistance fighters felt the weight of his gaze as he spoke. "You cannot win this battle, humans. Your defiance is pointless. This weapon will end your existence, and we will reclaim this planet." Carter faced him without fear, her mind focused on the task at hand. She knew they had come too far to turn back now. She could feel the energy of the anomaly gathering within her, and with a single thought she sent a pulse of quantum energy rippling through the room. The alien commander recoiled as the wave of force slammed into him, but he quickly recovered and raised his own weapon. The final confrontation was nothing short of a storm of energy. The two forces clashed with a fury that shook the very fabric of reality. Carter and the resistance fighters fought with every ounce of their strength, their powers amplified by the anomaly itself. They moved in sync, as though they were one mind, one body working together to destroy the alien threat. The alien commander was powerful, but he was not invincible. As Carter directed the energy of the anomaly toward him, he faltered for just a moment. And that was enough. The resistance fighters surged forward with their combined abilities, and the alien commander felt his body crumpling to the floor as the last of the alien forces were routed. Carter turned to the weapon, and with a final surge of power, she reached out her mind, connecting with the crystalline structure. She could feel the energy flowing through it like a tidal wave. She pushed everything she had into the device, channeling the full might of the quantum anomaly into it, and with a final burst of energy, the weapon exploded in a blinding flash of light, the shockwave rippling across the galaxy. The Earth was saved. As the dust settled, and the last of the alien fleet burned away, humanity stood victorious. They had faced the unimaginable and emerged stronger than ever before. The quantum anomaly had not just given them powers, it had united them. As a species, it had awakened something deep within them that the invaders could never understand. Humanity had become a force of nature, and no one would ever again underestimate them. And as Carter stood among the survivors, she knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's story had just begun. The storm had been unleashed, and the future was theirs to shape.